Hey everybody, this is the Mage of Ancients, and I'm here with my March 2018 update for my Ancient Gear deck profile. I do have to apologize that I didn't bring this update to you guys a bit sooner, but I am bringing it to you guys now. Of course, this update is going to include the brand new support from Legendary Duelists Ancient Millennium. I've been playing this deck for over a year now, guys, and I am having a lot of fun with it. It may not be the most competitive deck to play in this format, but if you ask me guys, I think the new Legendary Duelist support makes this deck a bit more consistent and a bit more competitive, more likely to compete in today's meta. Also, I can guarantee you guys this is not going to be the best Ancient Gear deck profile build you guys are going to see, but feel free to incorporate whatever ideas I included in this update into your own Ancient Gear decks. And of course, feel free to leave your suggestions down in the comments below on what I should do to improve this deck. I read every single one and I take them into account whenever I do these deck profile updates. With that being said and done, let's get started with this deck profile update. To start off with the monsters, guys, I run one Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon, one Ancient Gear Golem, and one Ultimate Pound. I have seen some other deck profiles run 2 Reactor Dragons instead, but for this build, I decided to focus more on getting out my fusion monsters. But even though I am focusing more on fusions, Reactor Dragon is still in this deck so that I can summon it when I need to, or if I want to use it as fusion material. So there's that. Ancient Gear Golem is here because I can use Ancient Gear Fusion. And Ultimate Pound is still actually pretty incredible card. You can substitute this for another Ancient Gear Golem, but I like it here because of how you're able to attack more than once with this card per battle phase. After that, of course, you gotta run triple Ancient Gear Wyvern. This card basically searches out all of your other Ancient Gear cards. Next, I'm running the brand new Ancient Gear monster, Ancient Gear Frame. 2 copies of that. Ancient Gear Frame is kind of a Melody of Awakening Dragon and Magician's Rod rolled into one. So what it does is that you can discard one card, then you can add either an Ancient Gear Golem or an Ancient Gear Golem related spell or trap from your deck to your hand. So this basically searches out your Ancient Gear Fusion, and all you need to do is just get your Ancient Gear Golem onto your field so that you can use Ancient Gear Fusion from there. Next, I'm running only one Ancient Gear Hunting Hound. This is kind of in the same scenario as Reactor Dragon. I'm focusing more on my fusions, and I want to save my normal summon for, Ancient Gear Frame or Wyvern, or any of the gold or silver gadgets that I have in my deck. Next, I decided to drop my copies of Ancient Gear Box down to 1. This is still a pretty good card. I can use this card to search out either my Ancient Gear Frames or my Ancient Gear Gadgets. I run 2 copies of that. And the Ancient Gear Gadgets are in this build because I am running Machine Duplication and Cleave Genius. And I'll explain to you why later on. I think these are all that I need, but of course you can substitute these out for any other cards that you want. Maybe you want to switch out the gadgets for 2 more copies of Ancient Gear Hunting Hound, or you can switch these out for any combination of these 3. So those are my Ancient Gear monsters. Now let's go on over to my supporting monsters. For the supporting monsters, I run double gold gadget and double silver gadget. If you have any other level 4 machines in your hand, that you can special summon it off of either one of these gadgets, and then you have an easy rank 4. So after that, I run the Symphonic Warrior engine, triple Symphonic Warrior guitar, and 1 mics. And the other engine that I run is the Predaplan engine, triple Ophrys Scorpio, and 1 Darlingtonia Cobra. The Predaplan engine is here mainly so I can get to cards like Overload Fusion or Ancient Gear Fusion. You could run Brilliant Fusion and a Gem Knight and a Performance Trick Clown in this build, but if you ask me guys, I think the Symphonic Warrior engine is the much better route to go when it comes to getting that extra normal summon, is because if you summon Gem Knight Seraphinite onto your field, but you don't use that normal summon while it's on the field, then you basically lose it. Symphonic Warrior Mics gives you the normal summon even after it leaves the field, so that's why I run it there. Also, Symphonic Warrior Guitar is searchable off of Gear Gigant X. Those are all my main deck monsters. Now let's go over to my spells. To start off my spells, guys, I am running, of course, triple Gear Town to start off my combos, basically. And to search it out, double Terraforming. Then after that, I decided to bump up my copies of Ancient Gear Fortress up to 2. Just because you need that extra protection. Of course, I've seen other people run triple copies of Fortress, so you can do that as well. I also run triple copies of Ancient Gear Catapult, just like before. Basically put, guys, Gear Town and Ancient Gear Catapult are the 2 cards that you need to see in your opening hand so that you can start off your combo. Ancient Gear Fortress is also a good target for Catapult. It's just that it's not as flexible in special summoning because Gear Town lets you special summon from your hand, deck, or your graveyard, while Fortress only lets you special summon from your hand or graveyard. Next, I run 1 copy of Ancient Gear Fusion. You can bump it up to 2 if you want, but I can only get 1 copy right now. If you ask me, guys, this card, Ancient Gear Fusion, is just incredible, and it makes the deck a bit more consistent, just like I said at the beginning of the video. So it works in the same way as polymerization. However, if you control an Ancient Gear Golem on your field and you're using it for a fusion summon, then you can also use monsters from your deck as fusion material as well. So it's kind of like a Red Eyes fusion for Ancient Gears. This card is like 20 to 25 bucks right now, and I can see the reason why. I mean, it's just that good. Being able to use monsters from your deck as fusion material is insane. And like I said, you can search this off of the Predaplan engine, so just something that you want to keep in mind. Another card that you can search off of the Predaplan engine is Overload Fusion. Maybe you already fusion summoned once already, so what you can do is that after you used those Ancient Gear monsters, then you could just use Overload Fusion to banish those monsters from your graveyard or face up from your field so you can fusion summon again. After that, I decided to move Power Bond from my side deck into my main deck. It may not be searchable off of the Predaplan engine, but it is a pretty incredible card nonetheless. What Power Bond does is that it doubles the attack of whatever machine monster that you fusion summon. I've seen other builds run 2 or 3 copies of Power Bond, but for me, I decided to just stick with 1. And I think the reason why is because I don't want to run that risk of losing life points after I fusion summoned. Next, I run double copies of Machine Duplication because I am running the Gadgets and Cleave Genius, and finally, 1 Limiter Removal. Those are my spells, guys. Unfortunately, I don't have Foolish Burial Goods right now. If you have Foolish Burial Goods, then I think it's a good idea to run that in this deck because you can just dump your Ancient Gear Catapult from your deck into your graveyard and then use its banishing effect from there. And you can special summon a token and either pop your Gear Town or your Fortress. Do whatever you want. So that's it for my main deck, guys. Now let's go over to my side deck. For the side deck, guys, it is entirely up to you, and I think the side deck that I'm going to show you guys is going to change depending on where the meta is going to go, but here's what I came up with nonetheless. So first off, I run 2 Kaijus, 1 Humongous, and 1 Gameciel. They're lower than Ancient Gear Golem and most of the Ancient Gear Fusion monsters, so that's why I decided to run these in particular. And the reason why I run Kaijus, guys, is, of course, you can tribute a Gameciel over one of your opponent's monsters, and then special summon Humongous if you have that in your hand. Next, I run 1 Jinzo. The reason why it's here is because it basically negates traps, and even since evenly matched is still a thing, that I think this card will work very well against it. You can either use a normal summon off of it, maybe you have your second normal summon off of your mics, or you can pendulum summon it if you have your mics and your guitar in your pendulum scales. Next, guys, I run 2 hand traps, double effect Veiler. You can switch this out for either Ash Blossom or Ghost Ogre or any of those other meta hand traps right now. But surprisingly, I have read up on the duels that have been happening very lately, and I have seen some players use effect Veiler. Next, I run 1 copy of Book of Moon, and straight off of the Forbidden section of the Banlist, 1 Monster Reborn. You can put this into your main deck if you want. Next, I run double copies of Twin Twisters. Of course, you guys can put this into your main deck if you want to, just because it's that good for opponent's back row removal. Also, you can use this to destroy your Gear Town or your Fortress and then start your combos from there. Next, I also run 1 Pot of Desires in my side deck. Just like Twin Twisters and Monster Reborn, you can put this into your main deck as well. But the reason why it's mainly in my side deck is because a lot of cards in my main deck are essential combo pieces or combos that I can use to fend off my opponent or anything like that. I'm still in kind of a limbo on whether I should include this in my main deck or my side deck, but it is here just because. And finally, the traps that I run are Floodgate Trap Hole, Quaking Mirror Force, One-Dimensional Barrier, and finally, Double Solemn Strike. You can switch this out and you can make this into any combination of traps that you want. Just be aware that you want to be able to set your cards before activating the effect of Ancient Gear Wyvern. Maybe what you can do is substitute this Quaking Mirror Force for another copy of Dimensional Barrier or another copy of Floodgate Trap Hole. Or you can substitute that Quaking Mirror Force for a copy of Solemn Warning or Solemn Judgment if you'd like. So again, this is the side deck that I have, and it's going to change depending on where the meta is going to go. But feel free to incorporate whatever choices I have in my side deck into your own side deck. So that's it from here. Now, let's go on over to my extra deck. And now guys, here is my extra deck. For my fusions, I run double Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, one copy of Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, one copy of the brand new Ancient Gear Megaton Golem, and finally, double copies of Ancient Gear Howitzer. Howitzer is still in my main deck because it's pretty much a good card going first, if you happen to go first. Howitzer is unaffected by other card effects, so the only way that your opponent can really get rid of this is either by tributing over it with a Kaiju or a Sphere Mode or any of those other monsters, or by destroying it in battle. So what this card does is that when this card is destroyed by battle and is sent to your graveyard, then you can special summon any Ancient Gear monster from your deck. That includes either your Ancient Gear Golem or your Ultimate Pound, and you can even special summon your Wyvern so that you can do your searching and then continue your combo from there on your next turn actually. So you can fusion summon your Megaton Golem by including 2 Ancient Gear Golems or two Ultimate Pounds or a combination of both into its fusion summon, and it can attack up to 2 times per battle phase. And also has that other neat second effect where if this card leaves the field by opponent's card effect, then you can special summon 1 Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem from your extra deck, ignoring summoning conditions. So that's pretty cool. Something that you want to keep in mind. And of course, Chaos Ancient Gear Giant is the card that basically wins you games. Potentially wins you games. So now for my Xyz monsters, I run double copies of Gear Megaton X. This searches out, of course, your level 4 or lower machine monsters from your deck or your graveyard, and that includes your Symphonic Warrior Mics. I also run 1 Heavy Armor Train Iron Wolf. There's that possibility that I can have one of my high attack monsters be able to attack my opponent directly and basically win a game. But you can switch this out for any other generic rank 4 if you want. Maybe Castell or Abyss Dweller or the Utopia package, whatever you want. Next, I run 1 Crooked Cook. If you have 2 level 4 monsters on the field and you have a Gear Town or an Ancient Gear Fortress, they can use Crooked Cook's effect to destroy your Gear Town or your Fortress and then special summon Ancient Gear monsters if you can. And then from the last of my Xyz monsters, I run 1 Phantom Knights of Breaksword because I am running the Predaplan engine. So what you can do is that you can use the Predaplan engine to search out your fusion spell and then Xyz summon your Phantom Knights of Breaksword so you can destroy either your Gear Town or your Fortress and then special summon an Ancient Gear monster. Kind of works in the same way as Crooked Cook. And finally, for the Link monsters, I run 1 Decode Talker because it is a good generic Link 3. 1 Cleave Genius, I'm going to explain this a bit more in a bit. And 1 Mrs. Radiant because the majority of my main deck are Earth monsters. And another good generic Link 2, the Clock Taker. So what Cleave Genius does is that when 2 monsters are special summoned at the same time to the zones this card points to, you can add 1 level 5 or higher machine monster from your deck to your hand. So that includes either your Golem or your Ultimate Pound or even your Reactor Dragon if you'd like. You don't necessarily need to run Cleave Genius, but in my opinion, I think it's good to run it because there are 2 ways by which you can get that extra search. Either by machine duplication or if you have mics and guitar in your pendulum scales that you can pendulum summon, and you can just get that extra search off of that. So this is my extra deck, guys. Feel free to incorporate what ideas I included in this extra deck into your own extra deck. And of course, you can also leave comments down below with what I should include in my own extra deck if you'd like. So that's it for this Ancient Gear deck profile update, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, be sure to leave your suggestions down in the comments below on what I should do to improve this deck. Also, I will be coming out with a brand new Ancient Gear combo video very soon, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Also, be sure to leave combo video please down in the comments below to show that you are very excited on the new combos that I came up with. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this video and you want to help support the channel, then be sure to hit that like button, comment below with what other Yu-Gi-Oh videos you guys would like to see, and of course be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll be the first to know when I upload brand new Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and I'll see you next time.